Welcome everybody, Dan Goodwin here, God's Final Jubilee Ministries, God's Final Jubilee Program. I want to welcome you tonight just for this brief little update we're going to give. We're going to talk about some interesting things. We're going to hit the gun control thing that's going on again in our country and what it all means and what they're possibly going to try to do again. And let's try to give you some insight on that. We're also going to look at the nation of Israel, America, Russia, Iran, Syria, and try to make some sense of what may be getting ready to happen over there and how it's going to relate to the timing of end time events. I've got a theory that I want to share with you, so I hope you'll watch the video. It's going to be, I'm going to try to keep it brief. So, all right, let's jump right into this here. Let me get this back where I need it here. There we go. Okay. First of all, a couple of announcements here. You can find me at godsfinaljubilee.com website. You can get to my YouTube channel from the website, my Facebook page, God's Final Jubilee Facebook. You ought to be on there if you are not already. You ought to be you ought to subscribe to the Facebook page, the YouTube channel, and follow us there if you can. We have a newsletter. There'll be one going out tomorrow. And we've got the bookstore is on the website. And also you can click on the events tab and find out my speaking schedule. At the end of March, I'll be in the Pennsylvania area. So if you're anywhere in Pennsylvania, would like to speak with me about coming to your church in Pennsylvania, the end of March, I can be glad to talk to you about that. Also, the end of April, April 29, I will be in Oklahoma City with Dr. Clarkson, the host of Prophecy News. We'll be doing a all-day prophecy conference there at his church. So that's exciting. So you'll be looking forward to that. And I can be happy to schedule some folks around that if you're within a few hours of there. We can schedule some Wednesdays and whatnot around there, or some Monday, Tuesdays, whatever you'd like to do. All right, so with that in mind, let's jump right into the next topic. Of course, the school shooting a few days ago, another one, and it's just so sad. By the way, I've got 5 children. I don't know what you do or are doing now. My 5 children never spent a day at the public school. My youngest is now 24, so those days are behind us now. We homeschool. We did Christian school a little bit, but mostly homeschool for all of them, and for several reasons. And you're going to have to decide what's best for you and your family, right? I had to decide. In fact, I decided before I got married what I would do. Before I met my wife, I already had a decision about what I would do about schooling when I had children. So, but a terrible thing for a gunman to walk in a school, doesn't matter what gun he has, for a gunman to walk in a school and just start shooting is a terrible, terrible thing. Let me say this, there's not one law that can be passed that would stop that situation, not one. That shooter violated several laws before he ever pulled the trigger. Went on the property, illegally on the property, and by the way, it's illegal to murder somebody, is it not? What more do you need? It's illegal to murder somebody. What more laws could you make other than that would save somebody's life? None. You say, well, we got to get guns away. Well, good luck on that. How are you going to get guns away from bad guys? Why don't you just remove all rocks? Because you can kill with a rock. You're going to remove all rocks. Did you know there's more people killed with knives than are killed with guns? Did you also know there are more people murdered with hammers than are murdered with guns? You didn't know that, did you? Because the media doesn't tell us these things. A shooting happens and the media jumps on it. We've got to get rid of guns. What are we going to do? And no, what we need to do is get more guns. What we needed was those security people at the school to have been armed. That's what we needed. And that's what's needed in every school in America. By the way, we have armed guards at public buildings and government buildings. We have some banks have armed guards at the bank. We have armed guards at the airport. to protect the airplane and all that. What's wrong with having armed guards at the school? What is wrong with us? Doesn't fit the agenda. What this is about, this is more than about saving children. This is about disarming America. And every government of the world has tried to do it, and many of them have done it. And Hitler would have never carried out his scheme without gun control, first having gun control. All right, so we had a meeting today in Washington. I didn't hear it. I heard just little bits and pieces of it, where the president met with many different people to discuss the problem and let people vent, let people talk about the issue. And I hope that Mr. Trump gathers some good men around him. I hope they make the right decisions. Outlawing bump stocks is not going to save a single life. I promise you. Outlawing a bump stock will not save one life in America. And by the way, you take away the right of Americans to bear concealed carry and to bear guns in public and whatnot, and you'll have more killings, because it's armed citizens that help to put away crime. It's the thought of if I go and I try to rob this institution, there may be somebody there with a gun. Maybe I better rethink this. You take that away, like, hey, put a sign up, gun-free zone, see what happens. I'll tell you what happens. Theaters, gun-free zones. Shooters go to theaters. Schools, concerts, and things like that. Gun-free places. Prime target. Okay? This is simple stuff. Now, God bless, I feel for the people that have lost loved ones. I really do. If I had someone in that school, I'd get me a lawyer. I'd sue that school for not defending and having a system in place to defend my child. So, what's going to happen of all this? I don't know. I hope that these people do the right thing. I hope we arm people at the schools. There needs to be armed security. Maybe some visible arms and also some concealed carry, because the guy that's got the gun on his side, if somebody's coming in, that's the first guy you shoot. It's the guy with the security guy with the gun, right? But if there's also people concealed carry and you don't know who they are or where they are, then that's a game changer, my friend. Listen, I've taught self-defense. I teach lady self-defense now and then. And been around guns all my life. I'm telling you, the way to save more kids is to have guns in there and be able to take out the bad guy. Because what does it take to take out a bad guy with a gun? A good guy with a gun. All right. Some other news today, besides Mr. Trump and the gun thing, we've got, of course, the passing of evangelist Billy Graham, America's pastor, as they call him. Now, I didn't agree with Billy Graham on everything. I don't agree with anybody on everything. I don't agree with myself sometimes. But I think he was a man that was looked up to as a moral human being and a man of character. I think in the last years of his life, he maybe changed on a few things, but that happens to a lot of folks when they get old. He's gone. He was America's pastor. And here's what I wanted to point out. We have the last Trump in the White House, and America's minister was just taken out. That's interesting, isn't it? 99 years old, a century. God has given us the last Trump, and now he's taken out the man that most Americans look to as a moral leader of our nation. Whether you agree with that or not doesn't matter. He's looked upon as a moral, foundational type of a person of our country, and led some great meetings back in the early days, and has been a great influence in many ways for the Lord. And God's taken him out. Does it mean something prophetically? I don't know. Interesting though. And here we are coming up on the 70th anniversary of the nation of Israel. So what have we got? We got this May, Israel will be 70 years old. 50 years plus from 1967, Jerusalem, but 70 years from 1948, May of 1948, when Israel became a nation after 2,520 years. became a sovereign nation again. That's interesting. And we've got the last Trump in office. We've got Mr. Netanyahu, the leader of Israel, that's undergoing some extreme criticisms, just as Mr. Trump is, and possibly going to be indicted on some things. And we've got America's preacher, America's icon, spiritual icon that's been taken away. Interesting thing. Now let me end with this, a couple of things here. A lot's going on. Israel. Israel is surrounded by enemies, right? Now what's going on over there? We've got Russia right on their doorstep. The bear from the north right on their doorstep. Where are they? They're in Syria. We've got America in Syria. We've got two factions in Syria that are fighting each other. And we've got Iran, who is in Syria. We had an F-16 shot down last week, an Israeli jet shot down in Syria. We have things being blown up over there. It's a powder keg getting ready to explode. What could be getting ready to happen? You see, in the end time, there's some things that are going to happen. The rapture is going to happen. The Antichrist will be crowned and revealed and crowned as the Antichrist. Now, he won't be called the Antichrist. He won't be thought of as the Antichrist. He's going to be the world leader, the political leader. A religious system is going to be on the scene. It's going to be very close to becoming a one-world religion. And that will begin to happen at the rapture for sure. We've got the Ezekiel 38 thing that everybody is unsure of the timing of. Nobody's for sure when the Ezekiel 38 is Russia coming down against Israel, and they're destroyed in the mountains, and a miracle happened. God does it, but I believe this, that God usually uses armies and men to do his work. He leads men into these battles. So we don't know. Maybe God's going to miraculously do it. Maybe God's going to draw somebody in there to take out Russia. I don't know. My point is this: all the players are in place. All the chess men are where they need to be. It's really amazing. And here's America falling. America's become a moral nation. We don't know right from wrong anymore. Somebody said recently Sodom and Gomorrah had homosexuality, but there's no indication that those homosexuals in Sodom married each other. Could it be that America has gone even further than the Sodomites went in Bible days? It sure looks like it, doesn't it? America not only has them and has accepted them and endorses them and puts them in public office now. We have Sodomites teaching kids at school. Now we give them marriage licenses. And wow. So that's we got an immoral nation. We got a nation that doesn't know right from wrong. We got an America that has turned its back on God. We've thrown God out of our nation, and the whole world's a powder keg getting ready to. We got financial mess. We got we're about ready to. The whole world's about ready to cave financially. Somebody's got to come on the scene and save the world. That somebody's going to be the Antichrist, the false Messiah, who rides in on a white steed and is going to be crowned. He's going to have the answers to the problems of the world. Okay, and here's my scenario. I can't prove this. This is just a scenario. This is a theory that I've had for a long time. Let me share it with you, and I think you'll find that this theory kind of looks pretty real right now with all that's going on in the Middle East with Russia and all the players that are there right now. Here's a theory that I have that could be a possible scenario. I see this. I see possibly Russia over in the Middle East. I see Iran getting blown up because Iran is on the brink of nuclear bombs. Well, they have them themselves, or they've been given some by Russia, and they now have drones because Israel shot one down and had American markings on it. They've got drones now. It's just a matter of time. They're going to be able to shoot a nuke in there and blow Israel up. Israel's not going to let that happen, and biblically we know that's not going to happen. So I see Israel pretty soon taking out Iran, getting rid of that threat, doing what needs to be done, doing what America should have done. Instead of giving them billions of dollars in plane loads of currency that we sent over there under Obama, we ought to be doing what needs to be done, but we haven't. So it's unbelievable. Israel's going to have to do it because we're not. We haven't done it yet. So anyway, whether we do it or Israel does it or we both do it, Israel takes out Iran. Now, who's the ally of Iran? Russia, the bear from the north. Does Russia love them? Does Russia love the people of Iran? Does Putin love the leader of Iran? I don't think so. They're simply a tool that he's using. What does Russia want? Russia wants to be a world power. Russia, like every other nation of the world, wants to get its hands on the wealth that belongs to Israel. That little piece of real estate called Israel is the most valuable place in the world. Everybody wants it. So here's the scenario. Iran gets taken out. Needs to happen. It's going to happen. Iran gets nuked. Just devastated. It's the end of them. Russia says you can't get away with that. Russia comes down against Israel and possibly some other nations with them. Maybe China and some others. But anyway, Ezekiel 38, 39. In the mountains, something happens. Nobody can explain this, but something happens. Russia is annihilated in the mountains of Israel, right above Israel. In the mountains, they're annihilated. I mean, just gone, just butchered. God intervenes. That happening, I believe, could be America that saves Israel at the very same time or right around the time of the rapture. Somebody saves Israel because I think the rapture happens. I think Ezekiel 38, in my opinion, happens right there. All the confusion with World War and Russia, a lot of people don't even notice that people are missing, but it's all going to happen fast. And by the way, if Mr. Trump is a saved man, you think about this now. If Mr. Trump is saved, and he may be, he goes at the rapture. So the president's gone. Talk about chaos. Russia's coming to destroy Israel. Iran's been nuked. The world financial system, the stock markets have all crashed. I mean, World War does that. I mean, Israel nukes Israel. The stock markets crash. World chaos. The rapture happens. Israel is getting attacked by Russia. Mr. Trump is gone. The U.S. president is missing. So the vice president takes over, right? That's Mr. Pence. I guarantee you he's gone. He's gone. He was raptured too. Who's next in line? Paul Ryan, still wet behind the ears. Now, I don't know Paul Ryan's testimony at all. He may be saved. I don't know. But I don't see him filling the shoes of the president. Who's the one man? Now you listen to me. Who's the one man that could step into the White House right now and have the trust of the people and the trust of the world, and with all the chaos, I mean wars and nuclear bombs and the president's disappeared and the stock market's crashed and it's just unbelievable. Who's the one man that could walk into the Oval Office and know where everything is, know all the phone numbers, know how to work the codes, and know all the right people, and be able to take right over Mr. Obama? That's right, Mr. Obama. You think they wouldn't beg him to come? You think they wouldn't beg him to come and save them? Do you see the scenario I'm painting here? And Russia's getting ready to destroy Israel. Obama's the new president now. And he makes the call and releases a weapon that I believe America has that we don't know about. A weapon so devastating they wouldn't dare tell anybody about it. And I believe somehow they annihilate the military and the strength of Russia, including the subs around the world. I don't know what that is, some electronic device, but and they end that. And all of a sudden we have a world hero who saves Israel, puts an end to what's going on in the world. And what does the world do? Israel signs a covenant with this man. The world places a crown upon his head, Revelation chapter 6, and he becomes the world leader. Now we're needing what? What do we need? We're needing financial help. The whole world's in a financial disaster. And eventually this man will develop, if it's not already here, a currency, some sort of a world currency, which for sure takes place at the middle of the tribulation. The mark of the beast, by the way, takes place at the middle of the tribulation. And you've got to have that mark to buy or sell. But that doesn't mean that the financial system doesn't come before that. In fact, it probably does. This guy, this antichrist, could come in with a new currency, a worldwide currency to save the world. They're all, I mean, it's all one world now, one leader. We don't need all these different currencies. One currency, and some sort of a cryptocurrency at that. Interesting scenario, huh? I'm not saying that I'm right about all this. Maybe I'm right about some of it. Maybe I'm not right about any of it. Maybe there's no way to be sure about that. I'm just saying this is a scenario that makes sense. And here we are, my friend, in the 70th year of the existence of the nation of Israel. Here we are at coming up on the 70th Jubilee. And again, we don't know when the Jubilee is. We know what time of year it is, but we don't know where we are on the calendar for the Jubilee cycle. I believe that the end time will be the 70th Jubilee. I believe Christ coming back with the title deed is a Jubilee. And so we're coming up on the Jubilee. We got 70 years of Israel. We've got the last Trump in office. And we've got the country, America's icon, religious icon, has just been taken out of here. Interesting days. So anyway, I wanted to throw that out to you today. This is the God's Found Jubilee Ministries. I'm your host, Dan Goodwin. And it's been good visiting with you again today. I hope that I've said some things that have been encouragement to you. Again, these are things that who knows where we're at. But it sure looks like we're at the end of this thing. Are you ready to go? Are you ready to meet the Lord? Because when that trumpet sounds, when the trump of God sounds, that's it. The dead in Christ shall rise first. We which alive remain shall be caught up. You better make sure you're ready. You better make sure you're saved. You better make sure you're trusting Jesus as your Savior. God bless you.